For folks that just jumped on, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you are here for our SNAP Employment and Training Community of Practice, all things about effective supportive services, you are in the right place. If you are surprised at that subject, feel free to stay. We're a happy bunch of folks. All right, so today, all about effective supportive services within your E&T program. Today, you have the pleasure of working with Kathy from Seattle Jobs Initiative and myself to deliver this presentation. Everyone knows us, yeah? Pretty sure. So here's just a brief agenda for today. So we're going to take a temperature check just to see how everyone's doing, what questions you have. We're going to have a good discussion today. We're going to just do a quick review about supportive services in SNAP Employment and Training. Can you raise your hand if you are new to this group and maybe you are new to E&T? Okay, good. Fantastic. Okay, so maybe we'll spend a little bit more time there. Please, if you have questions, just come off mute. Great. Okay, perfect. We have a Slido poll to get everyone participating, get some responses in so we know which direction to go for our conversation today. Sorry, I'm also admitting folks from the waiting room simultaneously while talking, so good luck to me doing that. We're going to also review best practices and suggestions that we have for you. We also have a tool that we'll talk about. And then what's to come next? So get your phones out for that Slido poll if you don't have it already. All right, so just a recap of what we're talking about today. So supportive services are things that help reduce barriers to employment and participation to folks that you're working with and enrolled in your E&T program. So all of you are likely doing this at your organization already. If and when you become a SNAP employment and training provider, some of those things you are issuing to your participants are reimbursable. And it varies state to state, as a lot of you know, but up here on the screen, I have the most common things that we see across the nation, things like digital technology, so internet and laptop support for your participants and students and folks in the community that you're serving, tools and supplies, so like think, work boots, hard hats, anything that they would maybe need to like start that job, tools that are required while they're in the program, supplies, can be anything from like textbooks or other materials. So think in that realm. Emergency rental assistance, which is, I feel like is, the hot topic right now. Yeah. Folks, rent prices, housing prices are skyrocketing. That and transportation, right? Who's seeing an increase in requests from your participants on transportation? Show of hands, real quick. Yeah. I can't wait for gas prices to go down. I don't know about y'all. It's I think 619 here in Seattle. Hey, Tamara. Is it higher in other areas of the country where you all are? No. Anyway, moving on. Interview and work attire is also allowable for reimbursement in most cases. So things like if they don't have like slacks and a blouse to go to feel ready and look and be prepared for that interview, that's something you can help them with. If they need specific attire for a job that they got, you can help them with that as well. The basic rule that we want to just follow is they must be reasonable and necessary for participation, right? So maybe we're helping someone with, some interview and work attire, but, we're probably not going to like Dolce & Gabbana, right? Okay. I joke to make things a little more lighter in today's world. So if you have any questions as I'm rolling through, as we're going through this deck, please just raise your hand, come off mute, drop it in the chat. And why these things matter, of course, I'm sure you know better than any of us. They help participants stay engaged, improve completion and retention, strengthen program effectiveness and participant success, and then just more equitable access to workforce and training opportunities, right? If everyone had all the things that they need to participate, everyone would succeed. Yeah. Any comments, questions, other supportive services that you issue out regularly?
I just want to add that the other thing to remember about supportive services is that it's equitable, not equal. Okay. The key is that everybody gets transportation services, but someone who has to drive 100 miles needs more gas help than someone who has to drive five. And so it's not that everybody gets $250,000, the same amount. It's that everybody gets what they need to participate. Whether that's more for transportation and less for childcare, it doesn't matter. It's the idea that you're giving them what they need to participate in your training program.
Anything else people want to highlight that they're giving out to participants?
Has anyone considered the credit reporting fees that are required before you can even apply?
Can you dive a little bit deeper on credit reporting?
So when we are talking about services, um, supportive services, what's coming up is not just a deposit, but also the credit fee that the people are looking for that they have to pay each apartment, which
You mean the
Oh,
running
I
the credit
see.
report?
I see.
I think it needs
For
to
housing. Yeah, yeah.
change and it needs to be uniformity like the car. When you go and apply for a car, it's pulled one time and the other car people have to use that report. The same thing needs to happen now in housing because people cannot afford to pay $45, $55, $32 to each
For every
additional
application.
person apartment they want to apply to. So some consideration needs to be taken around that.
Yeah,
That's
I'm actually not sure if that fee specifically is eligible for reimbursement. That is, I've been doing this work for a long time, you guys, and still every day I get questions that I'm like, I don't know. That's a great question. So thank you for keeping me on my toes. We can look into that. That's a great call out. Thank you. Any other comments, questions, feedback? This is great. All right, moving
Wanda,
on.
that's an advocate, you need to advocate for that at your state level.
yeah, I'm going to um already moving towards it, but I have so many other irons in the fire that I need to,
No, I understand. I understand it,
yeah,
but it's the right thing to do. I agree with you. They pull the credit once and it should be able to be used for all the different places they apply.
right.
All right, guys, get your phones out, scan the QR code up on the screen. You just have a couple of seconds to do it because I'm
No,
not
it's on the
gonna
other
I'm
screens.
gonna let
No.
Kathy share her screen. So let me um stop sharing. Oops. Stop sharing. All right, we can see your screen, Kathy.
Okay. So question number one, what is one thing your organization does especially well when it comes to providing supportive services to participants?
Enter your responses into the Slido or the chat if that's not working for you.
Yeah.
Oh, two people are typing.
4 people are typing.
Nice. Trying
What? Caring case manager, really important. Funding, critical.
These are all fantastic responses. This is great.
Hmm.
Ready. Oh, providing case management post program completion. I love that. Is that done under the retention component for whoever wrote that?
Yes, it is.
Nice. I love that. That's an often underutilized component and opportunity.
These are great.
Yeah. Wow, look at all these responses. Fantastic. Does anyone
Okay.
want to come off mute and share? Okay, that's okay. You don't have to. Not required. Okay,
Here's
one more.
question number 2. What is your biggest challenge or sticking point your organization faces related to supportive services?
Safe space, guys. Safe space.
Yep,
You
it's
can
all
tell
right.
us the good, the bad, the ugly. Funding. Funding. Wow. Yep.
Any glitches in your processes? Any struggles with anything besides funding? Funding's a given for a lot of programs. No, but you can still use it. Absolutely. Tell me, funding.
Actually, funding is the biggest piece when you're competing against larger
Yep,
nonprofits who have never had to compete for anything. And so when you're
yep,
competing on
yep,
several different opportunities for nonprofits and you're left out, and when you ask for a debriefing, oh, you were right there, and you were there was 50 that submitted and you were number 34 and we only had 16 spots. Come on. That
yep.
kind of stuff is huge. It changes the perspective and if you really want to stay involved in this. And I think the only reason I'm still involved because it's not about me, it's about the individuals that I'm trying to help and put into prevailing wage
Absolutely.
projects.
Someone put in their transportation to job sites. Is that because you're in an area that doesn't have good public transportation and vehicles and gas is expensive right now? Always. Don't be shy.
Hi, this is Rosemary from the Bobby Dot Institute. I
Hey.
typed that in. Yes, in Atlanta, we are very challenged with public transportation,
Okay.
unfortunately. And so trying to find ways to get our participants, to job sites is always a challenge. In spite of
Um,
there being local mobility services, takes a long time to apply for it. And so
oof.
we are always trying to see how we can get extra support as it relates to the transportation topic.
Gotcha, gotcha. And
So when
I'm
you say
sure,
mobility services, is that ADA mobility services or because you can
Yes,
use Uber
ma'am.
and Lyft? Okay. Mhm.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
ever-changing SNAP requirements. Me too, y'all. Collaboration. Oh, yeah, yeah. The collaboration with other agencies one is a good call out. Um, and like coordinating all of that can be tricky and cumbersome. Training other staff.
This is something we strongly recommend
Yeah, say
always
more.
helping.
Is it staff buy-in or you're running into capacity issues? Both. None of the above.
BFED is Washington's program, by the way, if you didn't know that.
It's someone from Washington. Okay, well, this is good for us to look at and know what you're challenged with as we move through our slides today. Um, Anyone want to come off mute and talk a little bit about what they put in the response?
Oh, can you all hear me now?
Oh yes, hey
Yes.
Tamara.
Oh my goodness, I was talking to myself.
I'm so sorry. We couldn't hear you.
So basically we have other staff that are like non-BFED. So we have our own BFED, basic food education and training is our program here in Washington. Thank you guys for clarifying that. But we have other staff here that also serve students. So it's called ABE, and then we have BFED. So we have a BFED case manager, and she does resource navigating and employment services. And our other staff we have that supports the other general, Sam, you know how this works. They support the other adult student body and just trying to get them to understand the funding stream or the funding source that BFET provides to help support their students. I mean, they're all our students, but sometimes just trying to get them to understand what's available and trying to keep them in the know of what's going on with BFET because our program, like, even though we support the BFET students, they also can tap into this funding for their BFET eligible students. I can't explain it. I know I'm not explaining it correctly because we're all one entity, but there is a
No.
team that does one thing with other students, and there's a funding stream for that. But letting them know to go to their other 40 their other funding stream last and tap into BFET for the student first, trying to get them to understand that and what's available. I hope I'm explaining that correctly.
Well, I can help you, Tamara, being a former adult education person. Um,
Yes.
so what you're basically saying is that what happens when you have other federal funding sources, you think you have to spend all those first before you use other funding sources. And with the SNAP E&T program, you want to do it as a co-enrollment and think about using percentages and braiding funding so that you can get reimbursed all year round as opposed to waiting and only getting reimbursed a little bit at the end. And so it's helping your staff doing some staff training to make sure they understand how the process works so that you can maximize your reimbursement all year rather than just a little bit at the end. Does that help, Tamara?
You got it, Kathy. Thank you so much.
Thanks for sharing. I'm going to pull my screen back up. Kathy, if you want to
Yep.
stop
Sorry.
sharing. Um, okay, so we'll circle back to some of your responses a little bit later when we get into more of a discussion. Hey, Pat, I see you joined the call. How's it going? Um, so just some common challenges, and we're going to move into best practices. So like to reiterate some of the things that we see in addition to your comments, which speaks to some of your responses there. So missing receipts. Who loves gathering receipts? Not me. Everyone's shaking their head. If you're nodding, I want to talk to you. Incomplete documentation when it comes for like an audit or a monitoring. Who loves that? Finding the paper trail. What happened? Where'd it go? Unclear staff roles if like you're in a transition period or you're short-staffed, capacity, things like that, right? And then late expense tracking. Oh my gosh, following up with that is like not a good time. We do have a tool that we're going to talk about at the end of the training, though, that is available to all of you. And just to like round us out here, uh, our strong systems can drive stronger results. And the stronger you have like internal solid policies and workflows, the easier all of these things are going to be, including and most importantly to the people that we're serving in the community. So the more solid of a foundation and workflow we have, the better it is for everybody. I think that was your slide, Kathy. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I can stand here. I'm
You
happy.
can take it away.
Okay. So, one of the things that is really important about your supportive services is that if you have internal policies that define how your how you're going to issue support services, what your limits are, um, this because it's your money, and I think this is one of the things that sometimes gets lost. You're spending your money on your clients. And so even if the state has some limits to things, they're that's their limits. That's what the state's willing to spend. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're stuck with those limits because it's your money that you're spending. And so you can request a higher amount than what the state limit is if you have the money to do so. But you need to write a policy that says that. So that if the state comes to you and says, well, what do you mean you want to do more? And you can say, well, our policy says we'll do this much. Or our policy says that, we're going to spend this much on car repair, even though your state limit is X. Because the money doesn't come from the state, the money comes from the feds, and they can request more money for the reimbursement every year. It is not what you're requesting from the state, because the state isn't controlling that money. It comes from the feds. So having policies that work for both your program makes it clear to your clients what limits are, or what if there aren't any limits, and then it works with your business office to ensure that they're comfortable with your policies are really critical and make things a lot easier. So when you're setting up your policies for supportive services, have you worked across your departments with everybody so that they all understand or have been a part of setting up these policies so that they know why they're doing things, or if they had suggestions about ways to ensure that it's working? Anybody set up their processes and worked with everybody to make sure that they work?
Patrick's nodding.
Okay, I can't see everybody.
We've done that, and we test them through internal audits. We're doing that right now. It's time consuming,
It is.
but it really does help us. Um, I would rather find that gap of maybe information that wasn't uploaded to the CAT system for SNAP E&T reimbursement or into our Apricot system before they do. We have an exceptional relationship with our accounting department, very clearly labeling invoices for which workforce development program they're in, or if they're in a resource center program. So we're really, really intentional, so everyone knows where the bills go. And if I ever do something that's kind of off, maybe looks different, maybe I buy 10 t-shirts that say chef on the front, I'll make sure to write right on there, right on that invoice, I'll write SNAP 50/50 eligible, just so that our accounting department sees it. I guess when I first got here 5 years ago, I thought of it as tearing down some silos. And by doing that, it created the opportunity for me to learn about SNAP E&T and then to teach everyone here on campus about SNAP E&T. And now I think we get the most out of it that we can.
Yeah, that's great. If you haven't checked in with your financial office recently, or your business office, or your person who does the invoicing, to make sure that they're getting the information they need in a timely manner, it's worth asking. They'll feel part of the process, which makes them feel better. Oftentimes the business office or the financial office sits in a silo and no one cares. They just feel like, here's the information. Check in with them. If there's something you could be doing to make their life easier, then they're more likely to find the places that you can get a better reimbursement. Or they might say, hey, did you not give this person books when everybody else got books? How come we're not reimbursing the books for this particular person? They might catch those things for you that you may have missed. So it's just like we talk about third-party partners between the state and the agents and you as an organization. There's also important relationships within your organization that you want to make sure you're cultivating to maximize your reimbursement for some of these things. So, take the time, check in with your frontline staff if they're the ones that are collecting the receipts. Is there a process that could be changed to make it better. So think about those, if you have a challenge somewhere, bring all the stakeholders together and see if you can find a way to make it work best for everybody. Did you have something, Sam?
Yeah, I like to reiterate like SNAP E&T kind of forces everyone from multiple departments that you may not typically work with. Like Patrick, thank you for saying like I have a lovely relationship with my finance and accounting people. Like that's not common for like program people to work really closely with accounting people. There might be a completely separate department, but really E&T requires that if you're going to have a really strong foundation and being able to maximize your reimbursement opportunities, which just then helps the people that we're trying to serve, right? So I know it's weird, I know it's a little wonky, and it can be uncomfy at first, but I promise when you break down that barrier, it is so worth it. So thank you, Patrick, again for calling that out because I love talking about that and how
Yeah,
critical
and
it is.
I would say tell those accounting folks because Kathy's right. They're sitting in front of a computer processing invoices. Tell them the story of where those non-slip shoes went, the feet they went on, the restaurants they went to work at. Tell them that stuff. You'll see everyone really kind of it pulls everyone together. So tell them the stories of what they're doing, how they're keeping stewardship on the finances, how important that is.
And remind them that the time they spend on SNAP E&T is reimbursable, and so they're helping support those students in the long run. You know, all the time that, remind all of your staff that, yes, tracking time is a pain in the neck. Yes, collecting the receipts is a pain in the neck. But that time you spend doing that is bringing more money back into the program to help support those clients. And the reason we do this in the long run. And, even though it may feel like this is a horrible hour of tracking down this receipt, that's money that's coming back into the program. And reminding people that sometimes helps. Doesn't always help if it's a pain in the neck client that refuses to give you the receipt and you have to write up all the forms to say missing receipt, but sometimes it does. What are some other challenges or processes that you've been through, kind of a change process to see if you could find glitches or make things better for people? Anybody else want to share? Or something that worked that you changed that made a big difference and people are happier?
I just heard the other day that one of our groups in Los Angeles is they're gonna use a Teams like drop folder for their case managers and direct service staff to drop in receipts and things related for participant reimbursement. So everything's in like one space just to make it easier for folks. They loved that suggestion and they're gonna move forward with it. So that's an idea that I heard that I thought was really great.
Is anybody using prepaid or debit cards to give to their clients for supportive services through a bank?
So we don't do that, but we do bus passes every day. And it's a $2.50 one-way
Yeah.
pass. So if they get two of them, they're $5. But if we have clients that drive, we do a $25 gift card to the gas station. So
Are
Okay.
you increasing that due to the rising gas
yeah,
prices?
it's one of those balance things where I've got to keep it equal to what the bus pass is equal to.
No, you don't.
Gotcha. Because we're being
No, for the clients
equitable.
themselves.
Because we're being equitable and nice.
Right. If I give one client $5, I have to give every client $5. That's how it works at the West Side Catholic Center.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. That's your policy.
Yeah.
And that's written down. Okay. Because with the E&T program doesn't require that.
Yeah, it's
It's a Catholic
it's what we
Charities
do
thing.
here.
Yeah, I get it. No problem. As long as it's written down and that's your policy, then that's great. The reason I brought that up is because this seems to be a trend right now in SNAP E&T, because if you like give someone, you're going to give them work boots and they need to go out and purchase them, you can give them a debit card from your bank that you can reload and you can put the money on it. The thing is, the receipt automatically comes because you're getting the credit card bill. And so they can charge charge the amount and the receipt comes automatically. They don't have to return this receipt to you. And it's become an easier way to keep track of some of those added extras. And it meets all the requirements because the money is charged to you and they can't use it because you're putting on a limited amount if you're giving them $50 for shoes. And if they spend it on anything else, you have the receipt to call them on it. So that's a new opportunity that E&T programs are taking advantage of. Okay. So as we keep, I don't think we've said this enough times yet. Build clear and consistent internal policies for your supportive services. Decide what you're going to offer. If you are using gas cards and you're expecting receipts and they don't come back, what are your policies? How many receipts can they not return before you say no gas cards for a couple of months? I mean, because it costs you money if they don't return those cards. If the participant is not the driver, but they have someone that brings them to class every day, can you supply a gas card? That's a policy decision. If all of these things are written down, it makes it a lot easier when, especially if you have several people issuing supportive services, they all have the same policy to follow and can look it up if they didn't know the answer in your policy guidance. For rental support, what do you require as information on the lease agreement? What if multiple people are on the lease? How much can you give the client that's their share? How do you know what their share is? Is there a per month dollar limit or a number of months that you're able to do this? All of that should be in your policy. And again, it just makes it easier for the client and easier for your people who are issuing these supportive services to know where their limits are. Digital technology is a big one. You issue laptops, issue hotspots, issue phones. What's your policy around lost, stolen, broken devices? I ran an adult education program. We had a lot of Hispanic people. The guy took his hotspot to Mexico for 2 months and ran up our phone bill. It's a real problem. It was very expensive. And we hadn't been clear in our policy. And so said he was doing schoolwork in Mexico while he was visiting family, and we hadn't written a policy to clarify that the hotspots shouldn't be used outside of the United States. Our fault. Okay. Couldn't get reimbursed for that because it wasn't clear in the policy. So that was something we ate. If someone has their computer stolen out of their car, are you going to replace it? How many times?
Who else
So
has a lesson learned where they didn't have a policy and then had to write one? Curious. That happened to me too, Kathy. I have a story for you. Nobody.
everybody's had no problems with anything they've
Ironclad
issued.
policies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
Samantha, you did so well here at Evergreen Goodwill, so I didn't have
Yeah,
to
but
write any new policies
the
after
question is, how
Sheila
many
left.
of those policies were written after?
All of them. Every single one. Every single one was written because we did not have like an internal policy or something to lean on when they came up, particularly the laptops one in this example during the pandemic, right? When we all kind of converted to remote learning, we were issuing laptops to people. And then, of course, people that are maybe unstably housed or, taking like public transportation or just any scenario where their laptop may be broken, stolen, pieces of it are broken, stolen, etc. Their kid takes it and who knows what happens. We definitely quickly had to write a policy about how many times we would potentially replace a laptop because my gosh, I think the rate of return was like 30% on every laptop we would issue. We would only get 30% back. What a fun time.
So for me, my participants have to fill out a form. They must give a deposit. If they
Oh, a
lose the
deposit.
laptop, if they lose any kind of technology, we get to keep the deposit and they forfeit their stipend. So
Ooh.
they take real good care of things with me. I only had one person that lost his laptop and he forfeited his deposit because he signed my agreement. I had everything laid out because I was thinking ahead. When
Yeah.
people are going through and they have issues, sometimes they don't think about what you have given them. They just toss it aside. And I was like, oh no, let me take care of this now. So they had to give a deposit. At the end of the cohort, they got the deposit back when they returned the technology.
Wanda's not messing around, you guys.
I'm sorry, say that
I
again.
said Wanda is not messing around.
No,
These
because
are,
I
yeah.
understand the people that I'm working with. When you're working with justice involved, foster youth, homeless, veteran, people that have drug and alcohol issues, yeah, I don't mess around with people.
Yeah.
So even when they come for orientation, I go to orientation just to see who's serious. If you're not serious, you're out of the program because we don't have time to play. I can't do it for you. The professors can't do it for you. You have to be ready. And if you're not, you can come back in 6 months and try again. We'll put you on the wait list. But yeah, I don't fool around with people. I don't have time.
Yeah. It
Gotta
sounds
keep
like,
moving.
yeah, it sounds like you have a really strong foundation and some really good internal policies and internal controls to ensure that you are being good stewards of the funding and resources that you receive and then give out to the community. So that's fantastic. You are doing great. That's great to hear. Thank you so much for sharing, Wanda. All right, we can move right along. So just to recap, this is like standard documentation requirements that are usually required for SNAP employment and training audits and or monitorings. So when your state or county agency or maybe FNS comes and visits you, or maybe you're going through a single audit if you are receiving over $1 million in federal funds every year. This is not an exhaustive list, and I would encourage you to refer to your contract holder for the exact policies. But in general, these are the things that are required. So the original invoice or original bill. So think that like that rental invoice, their cell phone bill if you're assisting with cell phone minutes or time, the internet bill, things like that, right? You want to have a justification. So usually this takes form in a case note. It's a description of why this service was necessary for that specific training and participant or component, as we know in the E&T universe. And that you had a conversation with that participant. They are acknowledging that they receive it, all of that. 3, they have to sign and date that they did in fact receive that service. And this can all be in kind of one document. It's up to you how you facilitate this process. And then a receipt, which again, we've talked about this a lot, but my goodness, gathering those receipts can be painful sometimes. But you do want to have that as part of your documentation when you are issuing and then being audited for these funds. Questions about documentation? I know, it's everyone's favorite topic. I won't bore you anymore. All right, we can move along. Kathy, is this you or me?
It's very similar to what we just talked about.
Yeah. So this is meant to be like a reference document for you. If you, I'll post this slide deck to our landing page. So if you have new staff or you need a refresher, be like, what was she talking about? Like, what what documentation or best practices for that one thing we were talking about, this is coming up for us. That's why this is on here and so wordy. So like Kathy said, I'm not going to bore you by going over this in detail, but hopefully this is a helpful resource for you all. And then I know this is your slide, Kathy, so I'm going to stop talking.
Yeah. So again, if you haven't figured out this is the same slide as before. We were having trouble.
Guys, yesterday was a disaster trying to get this slide deck into good shape. I apologize. This is my fault for
No,
not
it's not. We were having
updating
trouble
the
sharing
slides.
files last
I'm so
night,
sorry.
so we apologize. Just a couple of reminders when you're working on your policies. Make sure that your SNAP E&T participants understand your policies, that they're communicated up front, as Wanda mentioned, making sure they understand that there are consequences. Make sure you're communicating and ensuring consistency among your case management staff. If you have more than one case manager serving the same set of E&T clients, that everybody understands what the policies are, because oftentimes our clients will say, well, Susie got $250 for a new wardrobe and I only got $100. So what's your policy? It may be that Susie's job requires a different kind of clothes than the other person's, and that's okay. But you need to be able to explain it to the clients why different amounts of money are given to different people. Um, and that's perfectly fine. But just make sure that you can explain this so that there's consistency among the staff. Um, Nobody's mentioned any challenges, so none of these things happen to you?
I meant from like the Slido poll.
Yeah, and we're just mentioning common challenges that we've run across on other E&T programs before. Are we afraid to admit we have challenges?
We've had those challenges. Yes, indeed. And we most recently had a challenge where in the communication, there's like a little flyer that goes out to BFED eligible students, and it listed the amount that they can request up to per item, like housing. Oh my goodness. So somebody's like, I want the whole thing, even though their invoice was only for like, you know, a few, a little bit of that amount. So trying to explain that, taking that amount off of the communication, like there shouldn't have been any amount because it's a case by case. It's what your need is at that moment. So yeah, that was just like a couple of weeks ago.
Yep, that's true. So making sure the policy makes sense that you're communicating. So if you say, oh, you can get up to $400 for clothes, but when they go out and buy a skirt for $40, they think they're going to get the other 360? Uh-uh.
Right.
Oh, good. There's my money to go out tonight. I'm going to take the other 360 and yeah. And make sure that they are iterative. You're right, Sam. If you run across something, don't be afraid to change the policy or to make it more clear.
Any other challenges folks want to like pose to the group to discuss and work through? No? All right. Take it away,
So,
Kathy.
sorry. So, if you're interested, if you've got some things you weren't willing to share, or there are some things going on in your programs, blah, that you'd like some additional support with, you're welcome to request one-on-one TA through Samantha. And one of our consultants that are working on this project will be happy to meet with you and discuss what those concerns are or issues or anything that we can do to help. Our next community of practice, wow, I need more sleep. Our next community of practice is set for June 4th. The topic will be braiding and blending funding to strengthen your E&T program. And we'll be focusing in on things like WIOA and TANF and philanthropy, maybe some ways to help you find some funding for those supportive services and ways to maximize your reimbursement and how to respend that reimbursement to help you bring in enough funds to support your programs. Don't forget the Red F Workshop landing page, which has information for everybody. And do you want to share your supportive services tracker, Sam, or it's in there?
Yeah, so it's linked right here. Show of hands, who wants to see it? We have about 12 minutes left in this call. Raise your hand. Or you can, oh, all right.
So, there's a couple.
We got a couple people. All right, let me pull it up here. Tamara, you have this. If it will pull up, we'll see. Let me stop share actually and see if I can get this to pull up.
Now I can't get rid of that smiley face. Oh, it's gone.
Okay. Let me see here. My computer's running annoyingly slow. I'm gonna also see. Just 2 seconds here, guys. Some of you have probably seen this.
Kathy.
Oh, go ahead.
Kathy,
Yes.
so I heard a little something there and it with the gas cards. So right now we don't get reimbursed for those gas cards I purchased through SNAP.
Why?
If the clients brought back a receipt, will we get reimbursed for that?
Absolutely.
Okay. But if I turn in the receipt for gas cards, we can't get reimbursed for it, right?
Because you can't show that one of your eligible students used it.
So even if I got back half of those, that would save us some money.
Absolutely.
Today I feel like I have a victory.
Thanks,
I'll
Patrick.
take it. Wow. Thank you.
So I have it pulled up now. Oh, look, Zeus has joined us. That's Kathy's cat.
Oh,
So
yeah, sorry.
This support services tracker I did create when I was at Goodwill, where Tamara is now. If you have not, I'll put that together. And it was born because I needed something that tracked from when a case manager or a direct service staff has a participant that is requesting assistance, right? From that moment through the entire process. So the participant's name, do they have like an identifying number that you're using for like your internal systems or what have you? Who is it requested by, that staff? Which budget category does it fall into within your SNAP E&T or internal systems? Was it a check that you issued or was it a credit card purchase? Who is the vendor? So was it like Amazon or the gas station or whoever, right? What date was that approved by you and or your manager? How much? Was the check or like request or item ordered, submitted for? Yes or no? Did you receive it back to then give to that staff and or participant? Was it distributed to the participant, then logged, and then was it invoiced for? This sheet is editable, so you can change the categories to fit your organization and what you title and refer to things as. And as you can see, the dates are also editable. So this can be used for SNAP employment and training. It could be used for other programs as well. You could edit it to have multiple programs. It just depends on your internal systems. But I have found that this tool has been really helpful for groups. So that is in the slide deck with a link where you'll be able to download it if this is something you would like to use or look at.
I still use it, Sam, and it's
Yay!
amazingly helpful. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, I'm gonna stop sharing and stop recording.